All right, gang, welcome back. For those of you that watch this, and it's always good to let me know that you're watching these so that I continue to do them. It's hard to do this if, no one's watching it. All right, let's start. We're doing markups. All right, so your homework is until line 795. I'm going to go from 790 down to like 793 or 794. Let's see where the will takes us. I asked you guys last time if you liked the shorter in more depth or if you wanted it longer. No one answered that question. So I'm going to go shorter because I sort of assume that you guys aren't going to watch anything more than 10 minutes. But if you would like longer ones, you can. Maybe I'll send another post out and ask for some feedback. All right. As always, red pen in hand, starting with the verbs. Okay. I told you guys in line 7, this dead it is actually a dead it. There's just a random space there. I don't know why the space is there. It's just a typo. All right, so go ahead and circle. It's a verb. And that kind of does, again, pull back. I know we had a lot of first person singulars last time, so a lot of ers and os, but we're back to our good old t's and nts here. So we have the deseruit, we have the requessit, we have the decere. Hopefully you recognize this decere as a present infinitive with the ere here. Let's see, if I was only going to 792, that would be it. You have an affugate down here, which could also be good. But let's stick with 3 lines until you guys tell me that you want more. All right. So those are the verbs that we have in those lines. Hold this down a little bit. Some of you might be going, but dicta. Dicta is also a verb. It is a verb. It's a verbal form anyway. It's a participle. Okay. It's the 4th principal part of a verb from dico, dicere. This needs to be one of your vocab words. Dico, dicere, dixi, dictus means to say. And very often those 4th principal parts, dictus, is not only where we get a lot of our derivatives from, although we get dictionary, dictation, prediction, all of that comes from sort of the whole verb, but we also get these adjectives, and it is the having been said things. This is another time when you get the, and you have the decere and the dicta here sort of as a double whammy, this anaphora almost of this word. And what it's doing is it's being used substantively, and they often are. And dicta especially is used a lot. It means having been said things. Okay. And it's patterning with the hike here. And if you guys remember, it's hic, hike, hoc, huius, whatever. Hike can be a couple of things, but it can be also neuter. And what you need to do sometimes is when you have the 2 charts, and I'm not writing out the whole charts right now, but you can look them up on your own. You're going to find that the time you have a short A and a hike together is going to be sort of another neuter form. So I could go into more detail about why. You can look it up on your own though, and just understand that that short A and this hike are both neuter plural. And that hopefully by now, especially with the short A, you are sort of coming to expect. Like if you see a short A, it could be nominative singular, but when it's Vergil and things are going kind of cray-cray, odds are it's probably neuter plural. I would expect that. Look at the lacrimantum, that em. Okay, I'm just slide this over. That's going to be an accusative because it has the em. Look at the volentem. Look at that. That's an em. And look at that nt. Do you guys remember what that nt is? It's an nt before an ending. That's going to be a present participle. Okay, we went over participles last time. Remember, present participles or any participles, just a verbal adjective. This is coming from wolo wole, meaning to wish, not from wolo wolare, meaning to fly. So the E kind of gives that away, but I know that sometimes we miss the details in these bigger things. So this is wish. We have in aras, and there's a tenuisque. I guess I should go ahead and just say multa here. If you scan the line, you're going to find that that's a short A. So again, with a short A, it can be, excuse me, neuter, plural, or accusative, neuter. Well, I guess I should say neuter, plural, nominative, or accusative. It's going to be accusative. And if you're ever in doubt, go back to the verbs. You see how all of these are 3rd person singular verbs? You're not going to have a plural subject with all these 3rd person verbs. So because all the verbs are singular, the odds are that this is going to have to be accusative. All right. Notice that I put these 2 accusatives together. However, they cannot go together. They could never match up. And think about why. And this is a good question because you do need to ask yourself these questions when you do your own markups and when you do your own translations. Why can't a short A and an EM ever go together? Well, if they're both accusative, the answer is because this EM is singular and this A is plural. And singular and plural do not matchy-match. However, participles can take accusatives. All right. Kicking the ball, he ran into the goal. I don't know. Whatever. That was kind of made up. You know what I mean, though. So this volentem is actually taking the multa as a direct object, and present participles can do that. So, hey. All right, look here in aras. It ends in as. As is going to be accusative. That plus the in tells us that those two things are going together. Looking at the rest of this line, we have a tenuous que. All right, this is a long is, and we have the que. Remember, que acts as an and, goes before the tenuous. That's telling us, especially with the period here, that these three words are going together. With this long is and the fact that tenuous is an adjective, I would be highly suspicious of this long is, okay? You guys have seen Vergil pull this stunt a couple of times, and yes, he's pulling it again. This long is is actually a long es. It is accusative. And I think if you're ever uncertain that your book actually has this like marked out for you, hold on, let me go look in your book just for a real hot second. I know. That's book 4. We're not reading book 4. That's exciting. We're almost done with book 2. All right, we're at 790, right? Yeah, see, here it is. Can you see that? Long tenuous, long es. So the book actually gives you that little bit of support. If you're not sure and you haven't been using this book, you really should be using this book. I'll be collecting them soon, so use it wisely. But those ESs, if you're ever unsure, just check the book. Okay, that's what it's there for. All right, now we've got one more line to do. Oh, and I forgot a verb. I bet a few of you are yelling at me, in the future about Miss Campbell. You missed dare. Dare is a present infinitive. It is indeed. It means to give. Okay, now let's go. Ter just means 3 times. Ibi means there, and kerkum means around. So we don't do those. So all we're doing is conatus, kolo, and brachia. All right, let's look at this conatus. This conatus is a short US. And because it's a short US, it has to be nominative singular. That's actually kind of a fun little fact. If it's a short US, it's going to be nominative singular. What is going on with this thing? Why does it always do this? Autofocus? Is that it? Autofocus? Lock. I think the L means lock. I don't know. We're going to find out. Okay. So when it's a short US like that, it has to be nominative singular and obviously masculine. So what nominative singular masculine thing are we talking about? Well, it's the only nominative singular masculine thing that's shown up through the whole story, and that is Aeneas. All right, so we know it's Aeneas. Look at this kolo and this brachia. Okay, the brachia ends in ia, and if you don't know that brachium is a neuter noun, you might have to scan this line, and that would work. You'd go la, and then you'd go, oh, that's a short a. All right, short a. However, again, it could be, you're right, short a could be feminine singular, and I know the book lied to you. It lied to you bad, man. It taught you from Latin 1, puella, whatever, Cornelia and Flavia, and those short a's are all feminine. And here we are. It's like, I think every single time, not every single time, because there's a little bit about Hecuba, but almost every time that we've seen a short a in this passage, it's been neuter. You guys should see neuters coming out of the yin yang. But yeah, brachia is another one that is just a neuter. And so it's going to be a neuter plural, nominative or accusative. Again, look at the clues around you to figure out whether it's nominative or accusative. And the big clue that we have right here is conatus. Conatus is nominative singular, and it has to be. So because this is nominative singular masculine, this has to be accusative, okay? There's no et connecting these two things, and there is no, what do I want to say? They're not the same. They're not the same gender, so that doesn't work. All right, so that leaves us with kolo right here. All right, kolo ends in a long O. that is going to be the last thing. Colo means neck. That, even though it's attached to a person, it's not a living thing. So this one actually is going to be just an ablative. All right. So hopefully that one's a little bit easier. All right. So those are those 3 lines. I know I'm going into some grammar review here because I think that grammar review is going to be helpful. You have the NT, actually, of both of these are the present participle. We have a couple substantive adjectives. Those substantives, the dita and the multa, many things and saying things, are going to be used frequently, especially in the perfect passive participle. When you have that 4th principal part of a verb, it is often used in the neuter to represent the whole of something. Okay. Saying things, collecting things, there's all sorts of things like that. All right. So I'm going to shoot out a Google form for you guys when I shoot this video out, just asking again about the context here. Is it better to go short? Would you like me to go an extra 2 lines? I don't think I'd ever go more than 5 lines. Am I going into too much detail? Do you like the grammar review? This, of course, is optional, but I do think it's important. I would encourage all of you to try and do markups on your own before you catch them from me. Even if it's just, you know, to correct your mistakes, etc. Because it's part of translating and it's understanding how they work. Eventually, if you keep at this, you're not going to have to do the full markups. Eventually, you only have to mark up like every now and then just to remind yourself, oh, wait, that's an ablative. Oh, wait, that's that. But using these markups and reminding you how to work your way through the line is going to be critical. All right, I'm going to stop that here, and then I'll come back with a translation.